On November 2, 2010, the surfing world stood still as devastating news broke. Andy Irons, a three-time world champion and one of the sport's fiercest competitors, was gone. Known for his raw aggression and intense rivalry with Kelly Slater, Irons wasn't just a surfer, he was a warrior, charging waves with unmatched passion. But behind the titles and the adrenaline-fueled victories lay a deeper struggle, one that ended far too soon at just 32. His sudden death sent shockwaves through the surfing community, igniting speculation, heartbreak, and a harsh spotlight on the pressures that weigh on elite athletes. A legend in the water, a mystery on land, Irons' tragic story still echoes through the waves he once ruled. The rise of a surfing icon. Born on July 24, 1978, in the breathtaking surf town of Hanalei, Kauai, Hawaii, Andy Irons was practically raised by the ocean. With a surfboard under his feet before he could even ride a bike, he was guided by his father, a former surfer who helped shape his fearless approach to the waves. The north shore of Kauai became his ultimate training ground, where towering barrels and powerful breaks molded him into a warrior of the sea. By the late 1990s, Irons exploded onto the professional scene, his aggressive yet stylish riding making him a standout among his peers. But it was the early 2000s when he truly left his mark, securing 3 back-to-back ASP World Championships, 2002 to 2004, a feat that cemented his name in surfing history. During this reign, he dominated events like the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing, proving time and again that he was a force to be reckoned with. Yet what truly electrified fans worldwide was his rivalry with Kelly Slater. Dubbed the fire versus ice battle, Irons' raw passion and fearless commitment clashed against Slater's polished precision. Every heat between them was more than a competition. It was a spectacle, a surfing war that redefined the sport. Irons wasn't just riding waves, he was carving his legacy, one fearless drop at a time. The fateful journey. In late October 2010, Andy Irons arrived in Puerto Rico for the Rip Curl Pro Search, unknowingly stepping into the final chapter of his legendary story. The ocean had always been his battleground, but this time, he was fighting something unseen. Feeling unwell, he made the difficult decision to withdraw from the competition, choosing instead to return home to Hawaii, where his pregnant wife, Lindy, awaited him with their unborn son. His journey home took a tragic detour. During a layover in Dallas, Texas, Irons checked into the Grand Hyatt Hotel at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Alone in his room, far from the waves that had defined his life, he battled the illness that had been silently consuming him. The next morning, on November 2, 2010, when hotel staff knocked on his door, there was only silence. What followed was a moment that sent shockwaves through the surfing world. Andy Irons was found unresponsive, a hero, a champion, a fearless wave warrior, now motionless in a hotel room far from home. He was pronounced dead at the scene, leaving behind a sport forever changed and a community that would mourn his loss for generations. The world lost more than just a surfer that day. It lost a wild spirit, a fighter, a man who lived every second like it was his last. His death left unanswered questions, heartbreak, and an unfillable void. But his legend lives on in the waves he once conquered. The initial shock and speculation. The news hit like a rogue wave. Andy Irons was gone. The surfing world stood still, unable to grasp the sudden loss of one of its fiercest warriors. Fans, fellow surfers, and legends of the sport were in disbelief. How could a man who had conquered some of the deadliest waves on the planet be taken down so unexpectedly? At first, the whispers pointed to dengue fever, a mosquito-borne illness he was rumored to have contracted during his travels. The theory spread like wildfire, with headlines speculating about the dangers surfers face in tropical waters, the risks that lurk beyond the waves. The idea seemed plausible. After all, Andy had just competed in Puerto Rico, a region known for tropical diseases. As tributes poured in, questions loomed. Was it really dengue fever, or was there something more beneath the surface? The world clung to hope that this was just a terrible accident, a case of nature taking its course. But soon, new details would emerge, shifting the narrative in a way that no one saw coming. Autopsy findings and controversy. As the shock of Andy Irons' sudden passing began to settle, unsettling questions rose to the surface. How could a three-time world champion, a man who had conquered the fiercest waves on the planet, be taken so suddenly? The answers came from the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's office, but they only deepened the mystery. The autopsy report revealed that Irons had suffered a fatal cardiac arrest, triggered by a severe blockage in one of his heart's main arteries. But that wasn't all. The report also noted acute mixed drug ingestion. In his system, examiners found alprazolam, Xanax, methadone, benzoylecgonine, a metabolite of cocaine, and traces of methamphetamine. The revelation shattered the initial belief that dengue fever had been responsible for his death, shifting the focus to a darker struggle. Fans and fellow surfers were stunned. Could it be that behind the fierce competitor and global icon was a man quietly battling personal demons? The findings ignited a storm of debate and controversy. Some pointed to the relentless pressures of professional surfing, the grueling travel, the sponsorship demands, the intense competition. Others speculated on the weight of expectations, the burden of maintaining an image of fearless invincibility in a sport where hesitation can mean disaster. Irons' tragic passing forced the surfing world to confront a hidden reality, that even the greatest champions, those who seem larger than life, are not immune to struggle, pain, and self-medication. His story became more than just about titles and trophies. It became a cautionary tale about the cost of fame, pressure, and the silent battles fought behind closed doors. The surfing community's response. The waves didn't stop, but the surfing world did. When news of Andy Irons' passing spread, shock turned into sorrow, and sorrow into a collective mourning that spanned across oceans. In Puerto Rico, where Irons had last competed, the World Championship Tour event was halted. Instead of battling for points and trophies, surfers gathered for something far more meaningful, a paddle-out tribute, a sacred oceanic farewell reserved for legends. Back home in Hanalei Bay, Kauai, thousands flocked to the shores, their hearts as heavy as the rolling tides. With his wife, Lindy, and brother, Bruce, standing in the very waters that had shaped him, Andy's ashes were scattered, a final return to the sea he had ruled. Among those grieving was Kelly Slater, his greatest rival and closest competitor. On November 6, 2010, after claiming another championship, Slater held back tears, dedicating his victory to Irons. "I'd give this title away in a second if Andy could come back," he said. It wasn't about wins or losses anymore. It was about loss itself, legacy, and reflection. Andy Irons was more than a champion. He was a force of nature, a warrior on the waves, and a man who lived with intensity both in and out of the water. But his death did more than shake the surfing world. It sparked a conversation that had been long overdue. Suddenly, the spotlight turned toward mental health and substance abuse in professional sports, topics often hidden beneath the surface. In 2018, the documentary Andy Irons Kissed by God shattered illusions, revealing the raw, unfiltered truth of his battle with bipolar disorder and addiction. Featuring powerful interviews with family, friends, and fellow surfers, the film stripped away the myth and revealed the man behind the legend. His legacy didn't end there. The Andy Irons Foundation was born, a mission-driven effort to support youth struggling with mental health and substance abuse. Through community programs and outreach, Irons' story is now a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the strongest warriors can struggle, but no one has to fight alone. If Andy Irons' story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the legends who shaped sports history. Got thoughts on his legacy? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, stay stoked, stay inspired, and we'll catch you in the next one.